I have been hiking. Everything has been going well. I'm still on trail right now. I am in town, taking a 0 day. So I was hoping I would have enough, Wi-Fi to actually do a live Q&A so that, if any of y'all have any questions about the trail so far, you can let me know and I'll be happy to answer it. So I know somebody asked earlier about water, wanting to know the water situation. So this year we've been like really lucky in the desert. There has been a lot of water. Some of the sources that aren't usually reliable or are usually dry have actually been flowing. There have been several water caches that I didn't expect. So while I'm still carrying more than I ever would on the AT, it's still been a good year for water, and everything is blooming. It's beautiful. So yeah, no issues with water. But since this is a pretty small group, y'all feel free to ask any questions that you might have, and as they pop up, I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so what are you finding to be the most challenging so far? Probably just everything is so dry. I was just bragging about how much water we have, but everything's been, we're in the desert, so like I've had alligator skin, it felt like, and just the dry heat. So like in the heat of the day, if you're going uphill, and you're on a ridge and the sun is just beating down on you, it's pretty brutal. But I carried an umbrella, and I'd heard a lot of people praise the umbrellas, and then a lot of people are like, that's ridiculous, you'll get rid of it, you don't need it. But the umbrella has really been my saving grace if I want to hike in the heat of the day. I've got one of the Reflectix, one of the ones that has the reflective material on top. So, it's been pretty nice, and like I don't have to look for shade. If I want to take a break, I can just kind of sit down somewhere and lean up against something and kind of tuck up under the umbrellas. So that's probably been the worst thing, is just dealing with the sun and the wind. So you don't have trees, like sporadically you do, but it's been pretty open. So if it's windy, it's brutal. And the desert is like really hot when you're in the sun, and it's really cold when you're not. So it's just, from one extreme to the other. The terrain is definitely, in my opinion so far, a lot easier than the AT. Like if you just literally take the terrain of both trails, it's a lot more gradual. There are a lot more switchbacks. So that's pretty nice. But, there are other challenges. You're carrying more weight because of the water and things like that. And again, we were lucky this year. So let's see if I can go back to another question. Okay, cold at night. So I have been cold a couple of nights. I want to say that, the coldest I've experienced, I didn't think that it got down to freezing, but there was one night where I'd washed my clothes in a shower at a campsite, and I hung them on my tent, and they were like frozen in the morning. Like I hit my socks together and they made clunking noises. So that was kind of crazy, but I have a 20-degree bag, so it's kept me warm enough, but there have been a few nights where I've been pretty cold. And yes. And Perk is here. So, but anyway, so there have been some nights that are kind of cold. But what I'm gonna do, I'm kind of concerned about being too cold in the Sierras, so I've talked to Z-Packs, and they're all saying hi to you, Perk. So I've talked to
34.5, I think, was my coldest night.
Oh, 34 point. Okay, so Perk says the coldest night he has seen is 34.5. So, but anyway, he's got a little thermometer that for his coffee, like when he's making coffee, so he kind of checks the temperature and stuff. But anyhow, so I talked to Z-Packs, and I'm going to swap out for a 10-degree bag just because I'm very cold-natured. I sleep cold at night, and, while Perk has like a 40-degree quilt, and he's been pretty comfortable. So I think it's just a matter of like personal experience, or personal preference rather. Okay, whoops, sorry, let's see. Trying to find some questions. Okay, so Joe asked, how many folks are you encountering? Less than the AT for sure at the beginning, but still a good number. You know, I'd kind of told myself on this trail, I'm like, you're not going to know, you know, or you're not going to see any people, and it's going to be just a, you know, bland thing. You know, in other words, I didn't want to come in with too many expectations or expect it to be like the AT, because it's not. It's a completely different trail. So I wanted it to be its own thing. But I think that the AT, people-wise, like, people are more apt to hover around shelters just because it's like a good gathering point, and if it's raining, you know, you could sleep in the shelter, but it's just like everyone's kind of going to be there, and there will be a fire, and you know, you can't have fires out here, so there's less of like a social gathering, I feel like, at night. And you know, if you find a place to camp, and I don't know, people don't hover as much around water sources because there are longer stretches in between, so you get used to the idea of what they say is, you know, dry camping. That kind of freaks me out, and I try to avoid that. I try to get by water if I can, but you know, it just might be that you can't, and you have to tote water with you, so it's just kind of different in general. But I would say the most folks I've had at a site where I'm camping, probably like 10 to 15, maybe 15 people. And on the AT at the beginning, it's like, I mean, 50. So there are people out here for sure. It is a well-traveled trail and very, you know, visited, but it's definitely not as high traffic as the AT. So, all right, let's see. How many miles have you gone? So I'm actually over 100, actually over 150. So making progress. Let's see. How is the 3/4 length pad working? I used to use a shorter one, then switched to full length, but I'm a wimp. Thanks for the great video. So that's a good question, Robin. I had a lot of folks that were like, you're crazy, you know, your legs are going to be touching the ground, and you're going to be cold and freezing and whatever. I will say, very, you know, it's an obvious difference, especially if you're used to the long pad. So I think it helped that I had some time between the AT and now. I don't really miss it. Like, I've gotten used to sleeping with the short one. What I do is, you know, I still have some stuff in my pack at night. And then the pack itself is kind of, you know, not real bulky or anything, but it's enough to where I put the short pad down, and then I put the pack like kind of up under my legs. So my legs aren't touching, you know, my tent floor, so it's not like I'm touching directly, you know, the cold ground. So when I'm in the snow, it's not like I'll be just a thin layer of Cuban fiber, you know. And I even thought about getting maybe some kind of like an emergency blanket or something, and I could put, you know, that piece on that section. It still wouldn't add up to the 4 ounces that I lost. So so far I have no plans to send back for the longer pad, unless, you know, after the Sierras I lighten my load, and you know, I'm okay with taking 4 more ounces just to be a little more comfortable. But so far it's worked out fine. I haven't had any big issues with that. But I was curious how that one was gonna work out too. Okay, so yeah, Perk is here. Hey Dixie, did you here's my gift certificate for anything? I know you said something about shoes. So I did buy a pair of Solomons, and actually I started with a pair of Solomons and I had to send them home. So I finished the AT. This is probably another good answer to the, like, what have your biggest struggles been, but I started with Solomons, my tried and true, you know, never had any issues with them, and I ended with a men's 10 on the AT, and so I started the PCT with a men's 10, thinking, you know, that's what my feet were, swollen and flattened out and everything, and they were actually too small, so I've gotten blisters under my big toenails, and I never thought that was even really possible, but it happened, and so I think one of them may come off, I don't know, the other one is still hanging in there like a hair and a biscuit. But anyhow, so I think, well, I swapped to Ultras, and they're an 11. So that's what one of the outfitters had. So that's what I'm in now. And so far, so good with those. And I've probably done, I think 100 miles with those shoes now. So they're doing pretty well. Okay, let's see. My son Gus, 6-year-old, asks, have ever been sick while backpacking? Oh, yes, I have been sick while backpacking. I got food poisoning on the AT, and that was rough. That was not fun at all. I was just ready to get to town and drink some Pedialyte, and yeah, that was bad. I mean, it's bad being sick anyway, but out in the woods, it's especially not fun. So, yes, I have been sick, and yeah, you don't want to do that. And if there's a chance of like Giardia and stuff, just always treat your water, because it's not worth diarrhea in the woods. That's not fun. Any aspect of the PCT that surprised you compared to the AT? Well, not necessarily. I learned today that you have to buy bags in California. I guess that's not really trail specific, but like your plastic bags at the store, you have to pay for them. So that was something new. But no, I mean, I guess I kind of expected the desert to be rough. Honestly, didn't expect my skin to dry out, so badly. Like, I thought eventually it would kind of acclimate, and I guess it will, but I've actually been putting lotion on and stuff. So, can we send you a letter on the trails and head and tell them that you'll be sure to be at? Yes, you could. I'll have to figure out, like, there are certain ones. That's the one thing about the PCT. Like, you kind of are more limited to where you'll, you kind of have to go in certain towns. On the AT, there were a lot more options. But at the beginning here, it's really been, like, every few days there's an opportunity, 3 to 5 days. Even if it's not an actual town, it's, like, a community center that has, popped up right on the edge of town to help hikers, really. And there has been a lot of hospitality out here. I mean, you hear, that the PCT, like, people aren't as hospitable, but I mean, they've been pretty awesome. So, and most of the towns have been very hiker friendly. Okay, so let's see. How did you decide when to start your hike? Do you feel like you were there at the right time? Okay, so that's a good question. So with the snow in the Sierras this year, everybody's freaking out about that. And I think that they say that like June 15th is normally like a good time to go into the Sierras. But starting, close to the beginning of April, I think they say normally 5 to 8 weeks or so to get to Kennedy Meadows, which is right before the Sierras. But so it's early. But I'll just take my time through the desert and just kind of see what happens when I get to Kennedy Meadows. I think starting early is better because you're not having to rush. You allow yourself time to take off. If you have injuries, you're not so pushed for time. It just really depends though, like on the person, and the free time that they're allotted to do something like this. But I think that especially for the desert, the earlier you start, the better off you are with temperature and water, as long as you're staying warm enough at night. The longer you wait, the hotter it's going to get, the drier it's going to get. So I'm happy with when I started. Everything is blooming in the desert. It looks so beautiful. Like, the flowers are just crazy. I mean, my allergies are going crazy too, but it's really pretty. So I am happy with when I started. Okay, let's see. More worried about snakes coming to stay with you. Yeah, I haven't cowboy camped on this one yet. Like I said, I'm cold natured, so, and the wind, I like to huddle up inside my tent. But I've heard that, folks do cowboy camp a lot. I guess I would be a little concerned about snakes trying to crawl up and, get warm, but I guess they're in their dens by the time you go to bed anyway, so we'll just go with that. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Let's see. How are the trail towns? Are they more hiker friendly, less? Okay, so that's pretty much what I said before. Like, they've been, it's not southern hospitality in California, but like they're pretty friendly here, and it's just not as big of a community as the AT community is, or as you know, old of a community. So it's just it's a newer trail, and so it's just different. So have you run into snow yet? No, but I have seen it. I had my first sighting of snow yesterday. I just saw one of the mountains in the distance had snow on the top, and I was like, oh boy, there it is, you know. So I'll be getting into that pretty soon here, probably in the next few days or so. But we'll see what happens. Any differences with food prep in the desert compared to the AT? Any issues with food getting ruined in the heat? So I was talking about that today. It concerns me a little bit. Like, the temperatures aren't really that hot during the day.
70, 75.
Yeah, like 70, 75. It just doesn't really get that hot. So I think that the stuff will be fine as long as as long as the sun isn't just like directly cooking it, you know. I've eaten Snickers that aren't completely mush. The ones that I put in my hip belt get a little hot because, you know, the sun's beating directly. But I think if I, like this resupply that I did today, I got some cheese and some summer sausage. So I'll let y'all know if I get sick or not. But I think I'll be all right. Okay. Do you think you might flip-flop? I hope not. I mean, obviously, you know, there are going to be some people that have more experience with snow and ice that are going to plow through the Sierras. And a lot of them will hopefully pack down the snow and make it easier for the rest of us coming through. But, I mean, I hate to say it so bluntly, but, like, if people are making it through and they're not getting seriously injured or dying or, you know, whatever, then I will likely try. You know, I can always turn around and go back. There are ways to get out of the Sierras, you know. I'm just, like, it's a new challenge, you know, and I'm going to practice self-arresting with an ice axe and stuff like that, like, as I get into that stuff. So there are people out here that know what they're doing, that have experience with it, that, you know, can teach you. So, no, I don't have a ton of experience, really. I don't have any, except climbing Katahdin in the snow and ice, you know, the last day on the AT. But, but, you know, where do you get it? You get it out here. So, you know, I'm just not worried about it. And I think people are just really blowing it up and just kind of freaking people out over it. But it's still a lot of time away, you know, before I even reach the Sierras. So a lot can happen between now and then. So I'm just going to play it by ear and see what happens. But I'm just not really stressing over it. Actually, I'm excited for the challenge. So, you know, this will be the class of 2017 that braved the 300% snow in the Sierras or whatever it is. So, let's see. Can't wait to see video footage of the landscape. Yeah, it's very pretty out here. In the desert, it's so weird. Like, it just almost looks fake, you know. It's like just everything that you would think a desert would look like all of the cliche stuff, you know, it's there. But the flowers have blown me away. Like, I just haven't expected this much, you know, vegetation to be growing in the desert right now. But allergies, you might also be reacting to some of the desert flora, and watch out for the coyotes. Yeah, there is so much poop on the trail. Like, I mean, of course animals poop in the woods, right? Well, we're not really in the woods. They poop in the desert too, but like, I have just been surprised. I mean, I guess the coyotes don't want to put their butt in the cactus either, you know, but it's just like there is a lot of poop. I hate that word, but all over the trail. And horses too. Yes, scat. Thank you. There's a lot of scat all over the trail. And the horses, so there are people out here riding, you know, from essentially Mexico to Canada. They won't go through the Sierras, but so that's pretty, you know, different than the AT. The AT is, you know, human feet only, human footpath only. But out here, like, I've seen one guy that's got 2 horses, and then a lady, but I'm sure that there are others. So if they get out of camp before you, you know, you're following horse exhaust all day, so that's kind of fun. Okay, let's see. But yeah, also the allergies may be the dust, you know, just everything's always dusty. Like, if you take some article of clothing off or you pat your hair, it's just like, you know, everything just, it's just dust. So I did get some local honey today, so maybe that'll help. So you're still alive. Yes, I am still living, I think. Are you planning on changing your footwear when you hit the snow? So far, No, I'm gonna have crampons. I know that people say that, you know, the snow will get in your socks and kind of just the granules will be like abrasive on your skin. So I may look into some kind of gaiters for the snow, but I'll probably stick with my trail runners. There are some crampons I'm gonna use that will work with trail runners. So, but I mean that could change. I may decide like absolutely not, this isn't working, and swap it up. So, just gonna play it by ear. But so far I don't have any plans to change the footwear. And are you happy with the tent swap? What was your final pack weight? So, yes, I do like my tent. I really do like it a lot. And I know a lot of folks were concerned about wind, but it's held up like a champ. I've set it up on several windy nights, you know, out in the open. And then also the ground being hard. You know, I've had to hammer in stakes or leave like big rocks like on the stakes. But if the ground's that hard and sandy, you normally have a lot of rocks around to work with. So I haven't had any issues with it at all. As far as condensation, there might be like a little film of condensation, but it's not like it's dripping on you. So unless you're like rubbing up against it. But I have that sometimes in my Fly Creek also. But what I really love about the duplex is the 2 doors on the side and that it's much lighter. But it's just nice like being able to crawl on the side. The other one, you know, is kind of like a cave. But I still, you know, am fond of the Big Agnes and would definitely recommend it to folks. You know, it's a great tent. But I do like the one I have. And like, say I was to do the CDT next year and I had to pick one, as of right now I would probably take the duplex. So let's see. Do you have any idea of when you'll hit Kennedy Meadows? No, not exactly. I'm just kind of taking my time, and you know, yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I assume sometime around the end of May-ish, maybe. I don't know, maybe middle May. I haven't even really figured it out, to be honest. Anyone other than Perk from the AT Tramily on the trail with you? Okay, so I saw Chance a few days back. He's like a day behind me, I think. So we just happened to like intersect as I was leaving a place, and he was getting there. So that's the only like actual Tramily member, you know, of the 10 of us that's out here. But there are some other people from 2015 that are out here. Land Mammal, I don't know if y'all saw him in any of the videos, but he's going to be starting in May, and Heidi and Reptar. Like, there are some people that that are around that are 2015ers from the AT. Keychain, yeah. Okay, let's see. Spring is usually tarantula season in the Mojave. Any sightings? They are beautiful. So I haven't hit the Mojave, but I mean, I'm all for seeing tarantulas. I saw a scorpion the other day, and so I've been telling everybody to keep their shoes, their trail runners, inside their tent with them at night. Because normally you want to like leave them out there and let them air out, and you know, not have that stench in your tent. Not that it really matters, because you smell like just horrible things. And so anyway, I've started keeping them in though, because this guy was like tiny and he blended in with the sand, and so I was just like, yeah, I don't want him in my shoe in the morning. How's the black pack working out? Yeah, good question. A lot of people I know had posted on the pack video that, you know, they were afraid I would bake to death with the black pack, but I haven't really felt any issues. I mean, I even, like, I don't make a point, now that I have cheese, maybe I will, but like if I take a break, like I don't even put, you know, the pack in, like I don't make a point to put it in the shade so that it won't be hot on my back or anything like that. Like I don't even think about that. Like the pack never feels like scorching hot to me or anything like that. So and I like it. I really like the pack so far. So at the beginning I had like some bruising on my hips and like a little rub, but it's all gone now. And my Osprey pack did the same thing. So I think it's just getting your body like broken back into like, okay, we're doing this again. But yeah, I really do like the pack so far. And again, if I were to do the CDT next year, and, you know, I had to take my Osprey or my Hyperlight Mountain Gear, I'd probably take the Hyperlight Mountain Gear. Okay. Let's see. My son Jack, 8 years old, asks, what has been your biggest challenge so far? Your feet issues. Yeah, having the blisters under my big toenail, that was a little weird. But when I got to one place, I'll tell you what really helped, was soaking those two big toes, well, my feet in general, in Epsom salts. But I didn't have anything to do it in except my food pots. One at a time, I put hot water and I put some Epsom salts and I put, like, one foot for a while and the other foot for a while. But so that's pretty much healed up now. But yeah, I think just getting back in it and yeah, probably the foot issues. My knees were swollen up. I started off, and I always preach, like, listen to your body, and I started off trying to fly out the gate and doing too many miles, like I always say not to do. And so I ended up taking a couple days off to let my knees rest. I wasn't injured or anything, but it was just like they felt very swollen and like just like overused, and like there was fluid in them and like behind like in the bend and stuff. So I just took a couple days off and actually wrapped my knee with a bandana that was like soaked in Epsom salt water, so that helped that too. So let's see, what else what's your go-to food so far on this trail? So I still love Snickers are absolutely awesome. Donuts, never get sick of ramen noodles ever. But yeah, I think probably gummies too, like fruit gummies and stuff like that. But Snickers, yeah, that I don't know that I could ever get tired of Snickers. Are you eating enough? Yes, my hiker hunger has actually, like, it's starting to finally kick in. It's just, I don't know. It's like at the beginning, I think I packed too much food because I was like in the mindset of shopping with hiker hunger, but you slowly acclimate. But the other day, I got to a cafe and I ate a side salad, which was pretty big, a side of fries, and a 1-pound hamburger. And I was still like, I was not uncomfortably full at all. Like, I could have eaten more, but I was like, that's probably good. But I can just tell that I'm, starting to definitely have the hunger again. Okay, is Montana or any of your family going to join you at all on the trail? Probably not. But so in May, my brother is graduating high school. My other brother. So like on the AT, I'm gonna have to run home for that. So not exactly sure how I'm getting there yet. May potentially, if I don't know. I'm still figuring that out, but I have time to worry about that, and also I'll probably be waiting for snow to melt in the Sierras. So the problem with waiting too long for the snow to melt is, one, you're crunching yourself on time later, but also when snow melts, there's water, right? So the streams and the rivers and all of the crossings, the fords are going to be a lot bigger and a lot deeper and a lot more dangerous. So it's kind of like pick your poison. Go through the snow and the ice and, potentially be involved in an avalanche or something, I don't know. Or, be swimming across rivers. So I don't know. It's kind of a fine line, and you just have to go with what feels right. So I definitely won't go into the Sierras alone. I'll go with other folks. And so, but anyway, I'm getting off on the snow tangent. Okay. But is my family going to join me? No, I don't think so. I wish they would. That would be awesome. But I think Montana or my mom or any of my siblings would probably enjoy like the Camino, something where it's like more of a cultural thing, and you go from village to village and kind of hike with a day pack, but you're still outside and it's more of a cultural and social thing. I think that would be really cool and that they would enjoy that. How has connectivity been? Any issues in sharing video back home for production? So luckily I have unlimited data now on my plan. So I've actually sometimes been able to get signal out on the trail. I ended up getting a bigger battery bank so that I can do more out there as far as transmitting videos back home and stuff like that. But no, so far, I have enough footage that videos can be made. So, there's not an issue with that. But yeah, the Wi-Fi connection to do something like this has just not been that great. Are you still using your phone to film with, or did you add a camera this time? So I am still using my phone, but I have a little tripod this time, which I've loved. And I also have some lenses that connect to my phone that have been pretty cool. I've got a macro lens that I'm actually really excited about. I'm kind of like nerding out in the last couple days trying to video that because, you know, everyone of course enjoys like the vast beauty of mountains and openness and stuff like that, but I always notice like the little bug crawling across the path, you know, and there are these little beetles out here, these stink beetles. I posted one on Patreon, you know, with it like on my face or whatever, but anyhow, they like do these little handstands in the middle of the trail, and then you've got these lizards that do like, you know, like push-ups, and I that stuff to me is more, I don't want to say more beautiful, but it's a different beauty than you know, than what you're seeing. But so I'm really excited about that. And the other day I was like filming a ladybug and I could see like a drop of water on her back, and I don't know, it was cool. So some of that hopefully will be different in the videos this time than they were last time. So more than snow, you are strategizing for river crossing, taking snow melt into account. Yes, so that's what I was saying. Like, I'm more concerned. Fording rivers on the AT kind of freaked me out, especially with all the rain we had. So even though I have no experience with snow and ice, I'm more nervous about the water than the ice. So I'm more a raging river is scarier to me than an ice-covered mountain. I don't know why. Again, it's like pick your poison, and maybe I'll change my tune on that after I go through the Sierras. I don't know. We'll see. But it's all going to be just like a day at a time and see what happens. Let's see. How often have you been resupplying these first 150 miles? Like, I mean, there's been some way to resupply every 3 to 5 days or so, but yeah, it's not been bad. And actually 3 days from now I can, and but after a while it is going to get further apart. So let's see. Was it the macro lens for the rock frog? No, actually, that frog on the rock was just with my phone. So, I mean, the iPhone can take some pretty cool pictures. I do wish I had a fancy camera now. I would like to delve more into that eventually, and, you know, maybe for the PCT I'll be able to do something like, or the PCT, the CDT. But let's see. Get some close-ups of those scorpions. Yeah, well... So if I see another one, I will. I tried to get some of that one. I'm not sure if it came out well enough for the video or not, or but it was like tiny, and I wish I'd had the I wish I'd put the macro lens on and videoed that. But like I said, I'm getting, you know, I'm messing around with it more and more. So we'll see. And do we need to send you anything right now? I'm good. I appreciate you asking that. Yeah, I can't like think of anything like specific that I absolutely need right now. You're averaging 15 miles a day roughly, and you don't have your trail legs yet. No, I feel like I have them now. Like they're like, I feel really good now. But in the first 3 days doing 15 miles a day, no, I didn't have my trail legs in the first 3 days for sure. So oh, what's your pack been weighing? Somebody asked that earlier. I think my pack is I want to say the base weight ended up being, you know, because I do have the tripod and the backup battery charger, just several different things that maybe not others would have. But I think it ended up being about 15 pounds, which isn't super, super light, but it certainly isn't as heavy as I was on the AT. So I think the day I started with 2 liters of water and like 4 days of food, I think I was at like 30 pounds. So, okay. How long do you think you'll be on the PCT? I assume until the beginning of October. I really don't want to push it much past that. I just don't want to get caught in freezing cold weather like I did before. So I'm hoping like, you know, September 30th, like that would be great. Okay. Someone turn the bunny ears on the roof, get a better connection. Yeah. I don't know why it's such a bad connection now, guys. I can see if I'm trying to get a better connection. Let me step outside and see if that helps. It looks like it's just not going to be a good connection now. So, well, thank y'all so much for joining, and I'm sorry that it's cutting out now. But anyhow, I'm gonna, you know, do this as soon as I get good Wi-Fi again. That way, you know, if y'all have any other questions or things change or anything like that, you know, I can keep y'all informed and everything. And like again, I know I've told all of y'all, thank you so much for the support and encouragement and everything, but thank y'all again, because I couldn't be out here if it wasn't for y'all. And so that's why I wanted to do something like this, you know, for the folks that did support. So so thank y'all very much. And yeah, okay, I see all y'all's comments now, but anyway, yeah, we will do this again hopefully soon. Like I said, it'll just depend on signal. But thank y'all again so much, and we will see y'all next time.